Dear friends, I'm so glad we can share this time together. I wanted to begin with a personal story. A few years ago, both of my parents died within weeks of one another. My father, once a brilliant man, a neurosurgeon who studied the brain, had lived with Alzheimer's disease for many years. My mother was a nurse devoted to helping others, and her death so shortly after his was faster, more unexpected. I adored both of my parents, and I was bereft. As an ordained interfaith minister, I know that making sense of our loss matters. We are, after all, meaning-making beings. So I turned to one of my great teachers, nature. The change of the seasons, the ebb and flow of the tides, the waxing and waning of the moon offer poetic lessons about the fact that everything changes and there is a rhythm to life and loss far greater than ourselves. I found myself walking regularly among the trees, and over time, they helped reveal a metaphor that is the cause of my healing. Within each tall tree is a central pillar prized by woodworkers for its strength and its durability. It's called heartwood. And what's surprising is that heartwood is dead. It no longer participates in the flow of water and nutrients. But the tree cannot grow and thrive without this inert, solid core. It turns out we are a lot like the trees. Those that we've loved and lost become part of our heartwood, a source of lasting strength around which we continue to grow. Today, both of my parents are in my heartwood, and someday I'll be someone's heartwood too, for my children and my children's children. In the time since my parents' deaths, the world has reeled from one crisis to another. We've experienced a global pandemic, economic uncertainty, political and social turmoil, the degradation of the environment. And for many of us, there have also been personal traumas, such as health issues, loss of a job or a home, separations, and many more. As religious and lay leaders and people who feel so deeply about our spiritual traditions, we look to story and parables and metaphors to grow our heartwood. They're like the medicine of our trade. We all take on a heavy load. Driven by our sacred callings, we give of our time and inner resources to alleviate suffering. And we're charged with being selfless when others struggle. Now, in addition to the losses and hardship of others, we also carry our own. Recent studies reveal that clergy are far greater at risk for depression than individuals in other professions. I'm here to say that no one should shoulder grief alone. We must share our stories with one another. I am a disaster chaplain in the city of New York, and at the start of the pandemic, I was tasked with calling other chaplains to see how they were holding up. Some of them broke down crying, telling me that in the never-ending crush of misery, this was the first time that someone had asked them how they were doing. One chaplain I remember told me that his wife was at home with their 3 small children, and she had just arrived in our country when the pandemic hit and didn't speak a word of English yet. On top of the hours upon hours he spent at the bedside of the dying, he absorbed her pain and isolation so deeply that he hadn't had a proper meal for days, and he hadn't really slept in weeks. There's power in having someone who we can call when the weight of the world gets heavy, who gently asks us, "How is your heart today?" Someone with whom we can allow our voice to crack, our eyes to sting, tears to flow. Someone who doesn't need us to craft our words like sermons, who guards our secrets and isn't intimidated by our sadness, our fears, our confusion, our exhaustion, who doesn't try to fix that which is unfixable. These are the people who can be fully present, even if we prefer to remain silent, and who never get tired of hearing stories about who and what we've lost and why that matters. Finally, they'll remind us when the time is right of joy and laughter and play. And they stand ready to hold the promise of our dreams when they start to slowly rise again, like a sliver of light on the horizon at sunrise. This is the power of spiritual friendship, of being vulnerable, and of taking the risk to share our core, the lessons of our own heartwood, no matter how messy or complicated they may seem. As we walk away from this session, please consider the question, who will you turn to for support? My friends, I wish you many blessings on your journey. You have my deepest gratitude for all you do. Thank you.